Hello everyone, welcome. Our story begins in 1818 with a young Abraham Lincoln, who witnesses a horrifying scene. His close friend William is attacked by a cruel slave owner. Lincoln attempts to intervene, striking the man, but he is easily overpowered. The slave owner begins assaulting both boys until Thomas, Lincoln's father, arrives and punches the man, sending him tumbling into the river. Furious, the slave owner, Bart, confronts Thomas for striking him and fires him on the spot. Bart demands immediate repayment of a debt, but Thomas refuses. Bart, seething with rage, vows to collect his dues by any means necessary. That night, young Lincoln lies in bed only to be jolted awake by the creak of the door. A shadowy figure enters and attacks his mother, Nancy. Shortly after, Nancy falls gravely ill. The pain is unbearable, and doctors declare there's nothing they can do. Lincoln sits beside her, reading aloud as her life slips away. After her death, he is consumed by grief and tries to explain what he saw to his father. However, Thomas silences him, making Lincoln promise not to act recklessly. 9 years later, Lincoln finds himself in a bar where he meets Henry, a charismatic stranger. During their conversation, Lincoln's gun accidentally slips out of his coat, startling him. Embarrassed, he quickly leaves. That same night, he returns to the plantation docks and overhears Bart talking to Adam, his boss, about transporting goods to the South. Lincoln, filled with rage, emerges from hiding and points his gun at Bart. However, the damp gunpowder renders his weapon useless, forcing him to flee. Bart mocks him, taunting him about his mother's death and how he knew Lincoln was never truly asleep that night. Fueled by anger, Lincoln prepares his gun, but as Bart breaks through the door, Lincoln shoots him in the eye. Thinking Bart is dead, Lincoln discards his gun, but to his horror, Bart transforms into a monstrous vampire and attacks. Henry suddenly appears, demonstrating superhuman strength as he drives Bart away. Lincoln awakens in an unfamiliar room with his wounds tended. Hearing screams, he rushes into the next room, only to find Henry and his wife laughing and enjoying themselves. Henry introduces himself properly and chastises Lincoln for his reckless behavior. He reveals the shocking truth: Bart is a vampire. Though skeptical, Lincoln listens as Henry explains that vampires are real and operate even within the government. Seeing potential in Lincoln, Henry offers to train him to fight these creatures, but warns that revenge alone will lead to failure. Lincoln agrees to set aside vengeance and begins rigorous training under Henry's guidance. Lincoln is introduced to an arsenal of weapons but is drawn to an axe, believing it suits him best. Henry sets him on a daunting task: chop down a massive tree with one swing. Initially doubtful, Lincoln channels his anger and, with determination, cleaves the tree in one strike. As his training progresses, Henry teaches him to fight in darkness and how to identify vampires by their lack of reflexes and their vulnerability to silver. Henry also reveals the origin of the vampire threat in America. Vampires allied with Southern slave owners to feed on enslaved individuals, creating a powerful empire. Lincoln resolves to fight for humanity's freedom. Lincoln eventually moves to Springfield, where he meets Speed, the owner of a grocery store. With no money, Lincoln accepts Speed's offer to work in exchange for lodging. One day, he encounters Mary Todd, a charming young woman who captures his attention. However, Mary is engaged to a political figure, Stephen Douglas. Around the same time, Lincoln receives a tip from Henry about a vampire operating in the town's pharmacy. Armed with his axe, Lincoln confronts the creature. A fierce battle ensues, with Lincoln narrowly escaping a deadly trap before killing the vampire. He buries the body deep in the forest, determined to continue his mission. Lincoln grows closer to Mary, and their bond begins to flourish. Despite his dangerous double life as a vampire hunter, Mary brings a sense of normalcy and hope to Lincoln's life. However, Lincoln struggles to share the full truth with her, fearing she might not understand or, worse, be put in danger. Meanwhile, Lincoln continues to receive leads from Henry about vampires lurking in Springfield. One evening, Henry informs Lincoln about a vampire hiding at a local bank, preying on customers after hours. Lincoln devises a plan to confront the creature. Disguising himself as a late-night patron, he enters the bank. The vampire, initially appearing as a friendly banker, soon reveals its true nature. Lincoln's axe proves invaluable as the two engage in a ferocious battle. Using his training and quick thinking, Lincoln decapitates the creature, but not before narrowly avoiding a fatal bite. This victory reinforces his resolve to eradicate vampires while hiding his activities from Mary and his growing circle of allies. Lincoln begins to take on more prominent roles in his community, positioning himself as a man of the people. He uses his growing political influence to address the injustices he's witnessed, including slavery, which he now understands is deeply intertwined with the vampire menace. Henry reveals more about the vampire hierarchy. Adam, the vampire leader, has aligned himself with wealthy southern plantation owners, turning enslaved individuals into a food source. Lincoln is horrified but determined to dismantle this evil empire. As Lincoln's political career gains momentum, his relationship with Mary deepens. Despite her engagement to Stephen Douglas, Mary finds herself drawn to Lincoln's integrity and passion for justice. Eventually, she breaks off her engagement and chooses Lincoln, much to the dismay of Springfield's elite. Their love blossoms, and Lincoln confides more of his secret life to Mary. Lincoln's childhood friend William re-enters his life under dire circumstances. William is being pursued by bounty hunters after standing up to a powerful plantation owner. Lincoln uses his legal knowledge to help William escape capture, but the experience serves as a harsh reminder of the systemic oppression fueling both slavery and the vampire threat. Lincoln's commitment to justice grows stronger, and he resolves to take his fight to a national level. Meanwhile, Adam and his vampire cohorts begin to take notice of Lincoln's actions. Adam, viewing Lincoln as a threat to his empire, orders Bart, now fully recovered and more monstrous than ever, to eliminate him. Henry warns Lincoln that Bart and Adam will stop at nothing to crush him, but Lincoln refuses to back down. Even Henry would agree, your support is sharper than any silver axe. So subscribe to keep this mission alive, like to help us fend off algorithmic vampires, and comment below with your wildest vampire versus Lincoln fan theories. Now, let's jump back into the story. He confronts Bart at a desolate plantation, where their battle is as much psychological as physical. Bart taunts Lincoln, revealing that he was responsible for Nancy's death. Enraged, Lincoln fights with ferocity, using his silver-laden axe to gain the upper hand. After a brutal struggle, Lincoln manages to sever Bart's head, finally avenging his mother's murder. Bart's dying words, however, haunt Lincoln. You'll never defeat Adam. He's everywhere. Shaken but resolute, Lincoln turns his focus to Adam. Henry provides critical intelligence, explaining that Adam plans to expand his empire using the Civil War as a cover. Lincoln realizes that his dual fight against slavery and vampires has become inseparable. With Mary's encouragement, Lincoln decides to run for political office, aiming to strike at Adam through systemic change. Lincoln's rise to prominence catches Adam's attention. In a desperate attempt to stop him, Adam's forces kidnap William, hoping to use him as leverage. Lincoln sets out to rescue his friend, leading to a dramatic confrontation at a vampire-infested plantation. The ensuing battle is chaotic and harrowing. With Speed's help, Lincoln frees William and uses a combination of strategy and sheer willpower to decimate Adam's forces. The victory comes at a cost. Lincoln realizes that his fight against the vampires will require more than personal bravery. It will demand national unity. As he ascends to the presidency, Lincoln begins laying the groundwork for a larger battle. He secretly arms Union soldiers with silver weapons, preparing them for the inevitable clash with Adam's vampire army. The Civil War becomes not just a battle to end slavery, but also humanity's last stand against the vampire menace. Adam makes his final move, launching an all-out assault during the height of the Civil War. Lincoln's leadership and foresight turn the tide. With Henry's assistance, the Union Army confronts Adam's forces in a climactic battle. Lincoln himself faces Adam in a brutal showdown, ultimately destroying the vampire leader with his silver axe. The victory ensures the Union's triumph and the end of the vampire empire. In the aftermath, Lincoln focuses on rebuilding the nation and ensuring freedom for all. Though deeply scarred by his experiences, he remains steadfast in his vision of a united country. Henry offers Lincoln the chance to become immortal, suggesting that his leadership could benefit future generations. Lincoln declines, choosing instead to remain human and embrace the natural course of life. The story concludes in the modern era, with Henry approaching a new recruit. He offers the same mentorship he once gave Lincoln, ensuring that the fight against darkness continues. As Henry vanishes into the shadows, the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter and defender of freedom, lives on, inspiring future generations to stand against evil in all its forms.